Imagine waking up in a hospital bed, your heart racing, surrounded by beeping machines and worried faces. That's exactly what happened to me that fateful morning. I remember feeling so groggy, like I'd been hit by a truck, but I had no idea why. My name is Emily, and at 25 years old, I thought I had my life figured out, a steady job, a cozy apartment, and what I believed was a close bond with my sister, Sarah. But that day, everything changed. As I lay there, trying to piece together what went wrong, my phone rang. It was the police. And what they told me shattered my world. They said my sister had been involved in something unthinkable, something that almost cost me my life. How could the person I trusted most betray me so deeply? Stick around, because this story of sisterly love turned sour is full of twists that will leave you questioning everything. Let me take you back to where it all began. Growing up, Sarah and I were inseparable. We were only 2 years apart. She was 23 at the time of all this, and our parents always said we were like two peas in a pod. But as we got older, things started to shift. I was the responsible one, always planning ahead, while Sarah was more carefree, sometimes reckless. We'd argue over little things, like who borrowed whose clothes without asking, but nothing serious. Or so I thought. Lately, though, she'd been acting strange, distant, almost secretive. I'd catch her staring at me with this odd look in her eyes, like she was hiding something big. I brushed it off as stress from her job, but deep down, I felt a knot in my stomach. Little did I know, that knot was a warning sign of the storm brewing. As the days went by, my allergies were acting up more than usual. I'm severely allergic to certain pollens, and without my medicine, I could go into anaphylactic shock. It's scary stuff. My throat closes up, I can't breathe. And if not treated quickly, it could be fatal. I kept my allergy meds in a special bottle on my nightstand, labeled clearly. Sarah knew all about it. She'd even helped me refill prescriptions before. We shared an apartment to save money, and it seemed convenient. But one evening, after a long day at work, I felt that familiar itch in my throat. I reached for my pills, popped one, and washed it down with water. That's the last thing I remember clearly. The world started spinning, my vision blurred, and I collapsed onto the floor. In that moment, as darkness closed in, I wondered if this was the end. But why? My meds had never failed me before. The answer, as I'd soon learn, was betrayal in its purest form. When I came to in the hospital, the doctors were puzzled. They ran tests and found high levels of sleeping pills in my system, not my allergy medication. Sleeping pills. I don't even take those. My mind raced. How could this happen? The nurse mentioned they'd called the police because it looked suspicious, like tampering. My heart sank. Tampering? By who? Sarah was the only one with access to my room. She was my sister. Family doesn't do that, right? But as I lay there, piecing it together, memories flooded back. The arguments we'd had recently about money. You see, our parents had left us a small inheritance, but it was in my name because I was the older one. Sarah had been pressuring me to split it unevenly, saying she needed it more for her dreams. I'd refused, wanting to be fair. Was that enough to push her over the edge? The police call came right then, interrupting my thoughts. The officer on the line said they had evidence, a confession, almost. But from who? And what did it reveal about Sarah's real plan? I was about to find out, and it would change our relationship forever. The officer introduced himself as Detective Ramirez. His voice was calm but firm, the kind that makes you sit up straight even in a hospital bed. "Miss Emily," he said, "we've been investigating a report from your neighbor. They heard arguing last night and called it in. When we arrived, your sister was there, acting frantic. But something didn't add up." My pulse quickened. Arguing? I didn't remember any argument. He continued, explaining that they'd found the pill bottles switched, my allergy meds relabeled with sleeping pill stickers and vice versa. It was deliberate. Sarah had done it. But why? The detective dropped the bombshell. Sarah had been planning this for weeks. She wanted me out of the picture to claim the inheritance fully. There was a recorded call she'd made to a friend, bragging about how she'd handle Me without anyone suspecting. The police had subpoenaed her phone records, and it all pointed to her. I felt a wave of nausea, not from the drugs but from the betrayal. My own sister trying to shut me down for good over money. It was heartbreaking. As I hung up, tears streamed down my face. How do you come back from that? But in that pain, a spark ignited: revenge. Not the violent kind, but the kind that exposes the truth and brings justice. Looking back, the signs were there all along, hidden in plain sight like shadows in a dimly lit room. Sarah and I grew up in a small town, where everyone knew everyone's business. Our parents were hardworking folks, dad a mechanic, mom a teacher. They taught us to stick together, no matter what. When they passed away in a car accident 3 years ago, it hit us hard. I was 22 then, Sarah 20. We leaned on each other through the grief, or at least I thought we did. The inheritance was modest, about $50,000 each after splitting, but it was meant to help us start our lives. I used mine wisely, putting it toward my graphic design degree and saving the rest. Sarah, though, blew through hers quickly on parties, clothes, and failed business ideas. She'd come to me begging for loans, promising to pay back. I helped when I could, but lately, I'd said no more. That's when the tension built. Our apartment was a 2-bedroom in the city, nothing fancy, but it was ours. We'd decorate it together, laugh over takeout dinners, share secrets like sisters do. But about a month before the incident, things soared. Sarah started staying out late, coming home with new friends I didn't know. One night, I overheard her on the phone. "Yeah, Emily's being stingy with the money. But I'll fix it." Fix it? I confronted her the next day, but she laughed it off as a joke. "You're paranoid, sis," she'd say with that charming smile. Oh, how I wish I'd listened to my gut. My allergies had been bad that spring, pollen everywhere. Sarah even offered to pick up my prescription once. "Let me help," she said sweetly. I thanked her, never suspecting. Now in hindsight, that was her opportunity. She must have bought sleeping pills, switched the labels meticulously. It was calculated cold. The thought sent chills down my spine. As I recovered in the hospital, friends visited, shocked by the news. My best friend Lisa held my hand. "Emily, I always thought Sarah was jealous of you," she whispered. "Jealous? Of what?" I had a decent job at a design firm, a boyfriend named Alex who cared deeply, and dreams of starting my own business. Sarah, on the other hand, jumped from job to job, always chasing the next big thing. Maybe that's where the resentment grew, from seeing me succeed while she struggled. The police kept me updated. They arrested Sarah that afternoon, charging her with attempted endangerment. But it wasn't over. The detective mentioned evidence of her searching online for harmless ways to make someone sleep forever. My stomach turned. She hadn't just wanted to scare me, she wanted me gone. The betrayal cut deep, like a knife twisting in my heart. I cried for hours, mourning the sister I thought I had. But from those ashes, a plan formed. I wouldn't let her get away with ruining my life. No, I'd expose her, make sure everyone knew the truth. Revenge wasn't about hurting her back. It was about reclaiming my power. The days in the hospital blurred together. Nurses checked on me, adjusting IVs, while my mind raced with questions. Why didn't she just talk to me? We could have worked it out. But greed changes people, twists them into strangers. Alex was my rock, staying by my side, holding me as I vented. "We'll get through this," he promised. His support fueled me. Once discharged, I went straight to the police station. Detective Ramirez showed me the evidence: photos of the tampered bottles, transcripts of Sarah's calls. One message to her friend Reedy: "Once Emily's out, the money's all mine." Easy. Easy? My life wasn't a game. Anger bubbled up, hot and fierce. I decided then I'd testify, but more than that, I'd make sure her world crumbled just as she'd tried to crumble mine. The revenge plan was simple: gather proof, go public if needed, let justice do the rest. But first, I had to confront her. The confrontation happened at the police station, in a cold interrogation room that smelled of stale coffee. Sarah was there, handcuffed, her eyes red from crying. When she saw me, her face paled. "Emily, I didn't mean," she started, but I cut her off. Didn't mean what? To almost end my life, my voice trembled with emotion. She broke down, sobbing excuses. I was desperate. The debts I owe so much. I thought if you just slept deeply, I could take the papers, forge them. Forge them. It was worse than I thought. She'd planned to steal my identity too. The detective nodded, confirming they'd found forged documents in her room. My heart ached, sadness mixed with fury. How could family do this? I left that room shaken but resolved. The betrayal was complete, but my story was far from over. Back home, the apartment felt empty without her. I changed the locks, packed her things. Memories haunted me. But childhood photos, shared laughs. But each one now tainted. Lisa helped me sort through it all. You need to heal. She said. Healing, that seemed impossible. Nights were the worst, insomnia from the trauma, jumping at every sound. I'd relive the collapse, the darkness closing in. Shock turned to anger, then determination. I started documenting everything, journal entries, photos of the evidence. If the trial didn't bring justice, I'd share my story online, anonymously at first. Revenge through truth. Alex suggested therapy, and I went. The counselor helped me process the emotions. Betrayal like this shakes your foundation, but you can rebuild stronger. Her words stuck with me. Slowly, I pieced myself back together. Meanwhile, the investigation deepened. Police uncovered Sarah's gambling debts, thousands owed to shady lenders. That's why the desperation. She'd hidden it all from me. Friends came forward with stories. Sarah badmouthing me, saying I was selfish. It hurt, but it fueled my fire. I met with the prosecutor, detailing every argument, every suspicious act. This wasn't a prank, I told them. It was calculated. They agreed, upgrading charges to attempted assault. Satisfaction washed over me, not joy, but a sense of rightness. The revenge was unfolding legally, but I wanted more. I planned to face her in court, look her in the eyes, and watch her world shatter as mine had. As the trial date approached, tension built like a storm cloud. Sarah's lawyer tried to paint it as an accident, a mix-up, but the evidence was ironclad. I prepared my testimony, practicing in the mirror. Your Honor, my sister betrayed me in the worst way. The words flowed, emotional but strong. Media picked up the story, local news calling it a sisterly scandal. I stayed anonymous, but whispers spread. Sarah's friends distanced themselves, her job fired her. It was the beginning of her downfall. In quiet moments, I'd wonder if there was forgiveness. But no, not yet. The pain was too fresh. The climax was coming, and I was ready. Revenge isn't always about striking back. Sometimes it's about shining a light on the darkness. That's what I focused on. With Alex's help, I gathered more evidence. We dug into Sarah's online history, borrowed from the police reports, and found forums where she'd asked about non-traceable sedatives. Chilling. I decided to use it all in court, but also prepare a backup, a blog post detailing the story, with proof redacted for safety. If the system failed, the public wouldn't. Lisa connected me with a support group for betrayal survivors. Hearing their stories empowered me. Expose the truth, one woman said. It's the ultimate justice. The plan evolved: first, testify powerfully. Second, if she got off lightly, release the story to media outlets. Third, cut ties forever. Rebuilding my life without her shadow. It felt empowering, like taking control back. I even started a side project, designing awareness graphics about family betrayal, sharing them on social media anonymously. Likes poured in, comments of support, it healed me bit by bit. But doubts crept in. Was I becoming like her, vengeful? No, I told myself. This was justice, not malice. As the trial neared, I felt a mix of nerves and excitement. The climax was here. Would my plan work? Nights before court, I'd pace the apartment, scripting my words. Sarah, you almost destroyed me, but you didn't. Practice made it real. Alex rehearsed with me, playing devil's advocate. He'd ask. Too late, I'd reply. The emotional roller coaster was intense, anger 1 minute, sadness the next. But resolve won out. I visited our parents' graves, whispering promises. I'll make this right. Their memory drove me. The plan was set: expose, confront, move on. The trial day arrived like a thunderclap. The courtroom was packed, reporters, curious onlookers, even some old friends. Sarah looked small in her seat. Avoiding my gaze, the prosecutor called me first. I took the stand, heart pounding. "Can you describe the events?" he asked. I did, voice steady at first, then cracking with emotion. I trusted her with my life. She switched my meds to sleeping pills, hoping I'd never wake up. "For money," gasps echoed. Sarah buried her face. Her lawyer cross-examined, trying to trip me up. "Wasn't it possible it was an accident?" "No," I shot back. The labels were switched deliberately. Evidence was presented: bottles, records, transcripts. The jury leaned forward, riveted. Sarah testified next, tearful. "I didn't mean harm. It was a stupid prank." Prank. The word ignited fury. The prosecutor tore it apart, a prank that could have ended her life. She crumbled. "Admitting the debts, the plan. I was scared," she sobbed. But it was too late. The judge's gavel fell, guilty on all counts. Sentencing: 2 years probation. Community service, no contact with me. Relief flooded me. My plan worked without extras. As she was led away, our eyes met. Hers pleaded, mine were steel. The climax peaked, betrayal exposed, justice served. Outside media swarmed. I gave a brief statement. Today, truth won. It felt cathartic. Alex hugged me tight. "You did it." The weight lifted, but scars remained. Resolution came slowly, like dawn after a long night. With Sarah out of my life, I focused on healing. Therapy sessions helped unpack the trauma. "Forgiveness is for you, not her," my counselor said. "Maybe someday." I threw myself into work, landing a promotion. Alex and I grew closer, talking marriage. The apartment felt like home again, without her ghost. I donated part of the inheritance to allergy awareness charities, turning pain into purpose. Months passed. Sarah wrote letters from probation apologizing. I read them, felt pity, but no reply. Distance was key. Friends rallied. Life bloomed. I started a podcast on betrayal stories anonymously. Listeners connected, sharing their tales. It was therapeutic. One day, a call from Detective Ramirez. "Sarah's turning her life around. Therapy, debt repayment." Good for her, I thought, but my path was forward. Looking back, this ordeal taught me profound lessons. Trust is precious, but blind trust can be dangerous. Family bonds aren't unbreakable sometimes. They're tested by greed or desperation. I learned to listen to my instincts. That knot in my stomach was a lifesaver. Betrayal hurts, but it doesn't define you. Rising above, seeking justice through truth, rebuilds strength. The moral: in a world of hidden motives, protect your heart but don't close it. Forgive when ready, but never forget the lessons. My story's a reminder: revenge isn't destruction, it's empowerment through exposure. If you're facing betrayal, know you're not alone. Stand tall, speak out, and watch justice unfold. Thanks for listening. Stay safe out there.